All right, and we're rolling. So today is the 9th of February. And while we're in this really tight square and while we're coming into this really unusual pattern, I kind of wanted to focus on that a little bit and look at where that some of those things are going to be in our own charts and how to look at that. And we are also going to have a new moon in that whole lineup of Aquarius. So there'll be 6 planets or bodies in that area, and we'll go take a look at that. But then we're going to also think about, you know, how to look at that, where that's hitting in our chart. So we're going to share our screen, and let's do, where is it? Serious. There it is. I'm serious about that. Okay, share. Okay. Move me. To get this one larger. All right, everybody see the chart?
I do not.
You don't see the chart? Screen share is paused. Why is it paused? Try again. All right. Huh. It's weird. All right. Share screen. And there it is right there. And share.
There it is.
You see it? Okay.
Yep.
See Mercury retrograde. I hit the same buttons and there's this. Oh well. It's okay. All right. So we're going to look at the chart for tomorrow. And then we'll probably look at it. We'll look at a few things through the year because there's a few things I want to point out too. We did talk about a little bit back, but I'm going to talk about this again. And I'll probably talk about it each time. The big theme of this year is the Saturn Uranus square. And it's going to square 3 times. Now, I'm going to try to illustrate how that really works. So we're going to look over here at the chart. We're going to see Saturn over here in the 7th house. And again, the houses of this chart and stuff doesn't matter because it's not a person. I just ran it at a certain time. If I run it at a different time, they will, you know, this will all move around. So don't think houses at 7th house is important or anything like that, because it's not. This is just like what's in the heavens right now. Does that make sense? If there's not, just let me know. Okay, so we're seeing here on tomorrow, because today's the 9th, this is the 10th, and I ran it for like almost 4 in the afternoon, 3:59. And we can see all this lineup starting here. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets here. Okay, so where is it? What I want to tell you. Okay, so let's look at the Saturn. I want to look at this theme here for a second. Saturn here, and then is at 6 degrees Aquarius, and then we're looking up at the top of the chart here in the 10th house, and we see Uranus at 7 degrees Taurus. Okay, if we just think in order from the sun, the faster moving of those 2 planets is Saturn, you know, because it goes, you know, the sun, we got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. I didn't count Earth in there. But anyway, the Saturn and then Uranus. So Saturn has got a closer orbit to the sun, and it takes 29 years, give or take a few months, to go around the sun. Saturn, 29 years. Uranus takes 84 years to go around the sun. So it's almost 3 times, you know. It's like if you did 28, you know, so say 30, 30, 60, 90, 28, you know, just a little bit shy of 3 times. So Saturn almost goes 3 times before Uranus goes once. So Uranus is over here at 7 degrees. It's slower, you know, it doesn't move as fast. And it's been like 6 and 7 degrees for months here. It just moved 7, you know, because you can see it's at 3 minutes down here in the bottom part, 7 degrees Taurus, 3 minutes. And then you see over here, Saturn is at 6 degrees. They will make their exact conjunction on the 17th. And let's just show you that chart. Click on it, just so you can see it. I got the right date, 17th. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we got here Saturn, 7 degrees. Look, it's moved that little bit in this next week, right? About a week. And then it's over here at 7 degrees. And then I think when I did this chart, yeah, I was trying to get it as close as I can. At noon, almost noon, it's 11:30 East Coast time. You know, this was like Gainesville, just East Coast time. It's at 7 degrees, 13 minutes. And then Uranus 7 degrees, 14 minutes. So, you know, within that next minute or 2 or 3, it's going to be right there exact. Now, things don't have to happen when it's on the exact, of course, but as things lead up, I always find it's on the lead up before the letdown. It's like, you know, it's like there's nothing that, you know, pre-orgasm is totally different than post-orgasm. That's how these things are. Well, things happen on the pre. Oh, it's so exciting. And then as a letdown, okay, I'm done. You done? Give me a cigarette. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But, you know, I mean, it's that way with the planets. So things coming up are the tension. It builds the tension, build. Then, you know, the energy. So things are going to be happening on the lead up to this. And we'll talk more about that. But then, okay, so what happens now, you'll see Saturn will start moving ahead. Okay, so it's direct motion. So it will move ahead. It'll move 8 degrees, 9 degrees, 10 degrees. It'll move on. Where's my ephemeris? Let me try to give you the, sorry, these ephemerises. This one, American ephemeris, 21st century. So we could just kind of look, you know, I think we showed you in the past, you know, that these are just tables of months in years. Okay, so I could just flip through the pages on this. I'm looking at, I'm going to go down the column. I'm just going to look at Saturn. So all of February, I get 7 degrees, 8 degrees, 8, 9, 8, and 10, 11. Okay, we go into April, 12, 13. And then in May, it goes its retrograde. So it travels all the way to 13 degrees before it goes retrograde. So Saturn here is at 7 here now. So it's going to travel all the way to 13. So what does that mean? Okay, just imagine it right here at 13, like right here where Jupiter is. So it's going to, the square is going to pass Uranus, right? It'll be 13 degrees. But then it goes retrograde. So what does that mean? We'll do a whole retrograde, but I don't want you to think the planet's moving back or just our perspective. But it does track the degrees in a negative way. So then I go into, you know, April, and then we're going backward with the degrees, 13, or what did I say? It was May, right? Okay, so 13, 12 in June, it's at 12. And now by that time, Uranus has already moved forward as well. So I can't, you just say that this, but Uranus has already moved to 13 degrees by this time. And let me just show you. Let's go to here. Okay, so you'll see, this is what I was saying. Look down here at the 6th house. You'll see Saturn over here, 13 degrees, Aquarius. It's moved here. And then now you see the little R, retrograde. So it's on its backward motion now. Okay, so it's moved backwards. And also, Uranus has moved forward. It's been retrograde for a while, and it's been gaining speed. So you'll look up here and you see that it moved from now February. It's at what? It was at 7 degrees. And by June, it's going to move to 13 degrees. So Saturn will have already passed it. And then it, when it's on its retrograde, so it's going to hit it again. It's going to hit it on when it's moving backwards at 13 degrees. Hope that makes sense. So now they're at, you know, they're going to conjunct at 7, and Saturn is going to move ahead. So Saturn speeds ahead, and then Uranus keeps going. It's trying to catch up to it, but it can't catch up because Saturn is moving quickly. But Saturn then does its retrograde, and then it starts to come back, and it hits it right there as Saturn is moving backwards, hits it at 13 degrees in June. Okay, keep that in mind. So the very first one is they're both moving direct. You know, Saturn speeds past it, boom. And I'm acting like it's a conjunction, but it's a square. But I mean, it's just that degree, you know, I could be doing, you know, this with the degrees. Okay, so the middle one, the second the second hit of this, the second time that they square, if I say conjunct two, I'm sorry if I spoke wrong, but this is the square. The second time that they make their hit on that exact square is in June, and one of the planets is going to be moving backwards. Apparently, it's not moving backwards, but it's retrograde. Let me just say that. I just want you to think that it's going to be opposite or different or coming, not a direct motion. It's, you know, it's different. Okay, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I want you to see this. Now, we know one of them is going to be then, Saturn is going to then be lesser degrees, and then it's going to go direct, and then it's going to move forward, and then it's going to hit it again. Okay, it's going to hit it going forward one more time, and that one is in December. I want you to see that. And you'll see here Saturn is now retrograde. It was, and then when it went forward, it went back to, I forget what it was, maybe 9 degrees or something, but then it started going forward. And here's at 11, and Uranus is over here at 11. Remember, it was 10, I think it was before there. I mean, then 13, and then it retrograded. It did its retrograde. So now this one, Uranus did its retrograde. Saturn is forward direct, but then Uranus went retrograde now. So Uranus is going to hit it. They're going to do their square again, but Uranus is going to be the one that's going to be retrograde. Whew. Now, if that's not enough, did I do this other chart? I don't know if I ran it. Anyway, I'll just tell you, I'm not going to waste time. Okay, so that most planets do 3 hits like that, you know, because they have this retrograde stuff. So it'll hit it once, one going forward, then it has a retrograde, hits it going back, and then it hits it going forward. These two are interesting because they're outer planets and they do their retrograde cycles. So let me just read you the one now, you know, with this in February, both planets are direct and the action will be overt. Now, we're talking about a square. And we're talking about a fixed energy square, and we've been talking about this tight compression. So we are just waiting for something to happen. And we've already talked about this same time signature, this frame, what this stuff is going on. These cycles are like they were in the 30s before we went into the war. You know, when oppression really took hold, when stuff was creeping under the surface and people ignored it, you know, right before Nazi Germany. The Germans were totally schmoozed and were totally saw, you know, didn't see Hitler coming. You know, and then it wasn't until later there was, oh my God, one of these moments. We're entering into that same era and we're seeing the same oppression. We're seeing, I mean, we've been seeing it for years now. It's not just right now, but this is getting more. And we see the lies and the deceit, and we see the outright corruption that's deep, and this is all being exposed. So part of this is going to be the first exposure. But what we really have to watch for is the deception on this, and especially on the second one. But let me just read that, and then you'll get the gist of it. So this first one is both the planets are direct. Okay, we've got that Saturn, which is tradition and structure, and then we've got Uranus, which is out with the old, in with the new. And erode things. And then we've got both of these things happening. You know, we definitely got to get rid of corruption that's deep everywhere. And I'm not going to get political, but we've got it. And if you don't see it, you're blind. It is there, and it's worldwide. It's why it's not just us. It's not our United States. It's not this political party. It is worldwide. So this stuff is going to be discovered, and this is deep. And that's what this stuff is about. It's the tradition. We know that there's corruption, but it's so deep that it's going to be played off. I mean, it's like it's a cornered animal. Its time has come. But what's going to be happening in the meantime is things are being reborn. There's going to be try to tear down things that doesn't need to be torn down. Try to remake stuff that's not needed to be. What we need to just gut out that stuff. But it's cornered and it's going to resist. So the first thing is going to be overt action. Not quite sure how it's going to play out. I can kind of see it I could definitely see it in the world right now. Okay, but progressive, and I'm not sure what they mean, but you know, this isn't my words, but progressive politicians will be taking action, and demand for change will be clearly stated and proactive. Now, I don't want to mean like progressive populist, or maybe it's just progressive forward moving. So let's just put it that way. forward moving thought will take demand, for change. People that are under suppression are pissed. People that are getting shadow banned, that are getting banned, that are getting deplatformed, while they allow other things. I mean, this is just blatant. These people are getting huge in number and they're getting pissed. But the other side knows that and they're prepared for false flags. All right. Now, this is why you can just watch history and you can just know this just also based on history. But this next one coming up in June, all right, that's when the Saturn square Uranus may manifest in a more underhanded way, because when we looked at Saturn will be the retrograde planet then. So there will be a sense of pulling back to regroup, or a hidden or deceptive actions on the part of the powers that be as they try to maintain the status quo. Especially, now this is really crazy too, as the sun makes a square to Neptune on that same day. The sun will be in a mutable sign, it'll be in Gemini, and Neptune will be in, Pisces. So we have mutable. So that leads to some deception, sun and Neptune there in a square is definitely deception. So on that one, and we'll talk about it more when we get to June, and we'll remember what this one's going to be like. So really pay attention this next 2 weeks, because this is leading up to the 17th. This, next week we'll talk about it, because this is going to be an important week too. Things that go down, and we'll be able to see how this square, is all this energy lining up is going to make a difference, or as how it's going to play out. Okay, the last one here is on December 24th, and this one where it's showing the Uranus then will be the retrograde planet, and it will be different again. This time Uranus will be the retrograde planet, so we may see protest and rebellion get out of hand or violent. Those demanding change may find themselves compromising their ethics as a mean to an end in a desperate attempt to gain the upper hand. Now, this energy isn't over, but this is the theme for the year. This is the theme for this year. Just keep that in the back of your head. This square is the theme, Saturn versus Uranus. Get it in your head. Look up Saturn some more, look up Uranus. It is that old, the tradition, but it's also structure. So that, we got to look at both sides of something. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but we definitely want to uproot corruption. But we don't want to keep seeing two-faced garbage, lying and saying, oh, over here, and then they go do this over here. And now it's out in the open. Okay, this is going to continue into 2022. All right. In October on 2022, both Saturn and Uranus are both retrograde, and they almost conjunct again. I mean, they're both at 18 degrees. One is like at 18 degrees, 56 minutes, and the other's at 18:15. So, I mean, it's like they're almost exact, but they're both retrograde at that time. So next, a year, okay, a year from this one. So we got this going on. Okay, so all of 2022, then it kind of separates, but then as we get into the fall, this happens. So they're both retrograde, and this is what to expect. There may be a feeling that change will never come, even a sense of disillusionment and fear. Crap. Saturn turns direct on 23rd of October, but the two will remain within orb until the beginning of December. We may only feel a real sense that things are changing when Uranus turns direct on the 23rd of January 2023. And man, you cannot make this stuff up, these degrees, and then this full moon, this new moon is going to be at 23 degrees Aquarius. So, I mean, this is just, the cosmic math and timing and money and numbers and numerology. It's not numerology, it's aspects, and its timing of stuff is just incredible. And it really behooves us to understand this and to try to make it usable and see this effect in our world. Now, I believe, again, if you're on the right side of things, you're willing to look at things yourself, stuff in the world, open, honestly, objectively, willing to look at the ugly face of things and make changes, of course, make changes in your own life, but then where are we naive and where are we being deceived? That's what all of this stuff is going to bring up. And it is going to be massive, and it's going to be hard, having these 3 hits and then almost a fourth one, taking almost a whole year for the last one, which I didn't even bring up here. to come through is going to be big. So I want to give you the big picture because that's a big theme. So on this first one that we've got coming up here on the 17th, you know, the stuff is going to widen out, but we still have those two major players. And then of course there's all kinds of the other players that have their part in the show, but this is a really big deal. Now, this one here, we're going to see these with the moon on the 17th, when that's exact, we've got the moon over here in Taurus next to Uranus. Look at that at this time, and I ran it for the time. It is almost right up Uranus's butt. So moon Uranus, oh man, conjunct unexpected things in the earth. Oh, this could even be earthquakes, land disruption, because it's in Taurus. But then we've got moon, you know, which is emotional, also emotional disruptions. Well, just those two together. Okay, that's kind of like, and then they're gaining on Mars. So moon being fast moving is going to pass over there, and then before it's out of that sign, it will make a conjunction sitting right on Mars. So moon and Mars, not that comfortable. You know, you've got emotion and then aggression. So that could be emotionally volatile that day as well, and coming into the next. The day before, you know, I would say, you know, what is that? Wednesday. So next Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, come in Thursday, it's all gonna be pretty intense. All right, that's huge, and I want to just get that big thing. Now let's look at tomorrow, and we're coming into the new moon. So tomorrow the moon, and then I did at this time like 4 in the afternoon, and the moon is, this is again East Coast time, it's at 11 degrees, and it will be the new moon when it is right there with the sun. They'll be conjunct, and they'll be at 23 degrees. So it'll be a little later. I think it's on the 11th itself. Let's see it. Yeah, so it's about 2 in the afternoon Eastern time. I have it at 2:21 here, and we can see they're both at the same degree. Look at 23, but the moon had just passed over, so it's just a hair before that time, probably like 2:20. You can see that it's not even just a few minutes. You know, look at that, 17 minutes, 25 minutes. So right there on Thursday, but we can see the day before. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here because that's what it is. Now, to see how this is affecting you in your chart, look in your chart and see where all this Aquarius is, you know, and then look at, we've got the lineup from 6 to 23 degrees. You know, so if you've got anything, well, there's several ways of looking at this. First, I want to get rid of the bad stuff, get it out of the way. So let's see if we have anything opposing that in your chart. So, you know, look to see if you've got anything over there in Leo. All right, so Leo would be opposing all that stuff. So if you've got, you know, Mercury over there in Leo, all of these guys are going to be opposing your little Mercury there, you know, your mind. So your mind might be flooded with lots of different types of Aquarian thoughts, you know, all of that kind of stuff would be opposing that. What if you had Venus over there? Maybe, you know, Venus is wanting feel-good stuff, and then we've got all of this Aquarian stuff, which is all mental. So it's not really good for feel-good Venus. So it may be affecting your feel-good. You may not be feeling real good if your Venus is being opposed by all of this. I'm just trying to give you some ideas of how things can play out. So anyway, it's good to see where this is in your chart and what else it's affecting. All right, so that's the opposition of it. Now we're going to look at the squares of it. So we're going to go see if you have anything, go look and see if you have anything in Taurus, because all that stuff is going to be making a square to anything you have in Taurus. At the same note, you would see what's in Scorpio, because all that stuff is going to be squaring your Scorpio. If you've got a Scorpio sun, you just got to note what degree, because one of these things is going to ding it if it hasn't already. If it's early degrees, you've already just passed it and you've been going through some shit. But anything now 6 degrees on, now 12 degrees. Look at, we got both of these buddies. They're conjunct this day. Look at, this is also interesting that on, you know, on this time, Venus is conjunct Jupiter. they're both, that feel good in the big, Jupiter magnifies anything it's close to. So we have Venus right there. So that's really interesting. So here's maybe a little bit of a compassionate type of thing. And then there's some of the asteroids that are making some interesting, like you might have heard of Chiron, and but I think for now it complicates it, but they are also making some interesting aspects here. Chiron's a wounded healer, and anyway, some of that stuff is just adding to this, but I don't want to confuse you. So look in your chart, see where this is. Is there anything significant at 23 degrees? Is there anything significant at 23 Aquarius? Because that's the exact new moon. Do you have anything opposing it? What if you have something at 23 degrees Taurus? What if that's your rising sign? Or what if your sun or rising sign is 23 Scorpio? That's going to make a bit more impacting for you. Now, new moons are always times to start new things, initiate. Full moons are the culmination. So we can use this no matter where it's at in your chart. Look to see what area, like if this were your chart, if this was whoever, we're looking at, this is just this day. But if this were a real person, we would say, well, this is going to affect you in your 9th house. Transit 21/1/21. That's your name. It's going to be in your 9th house. So Aquarius 9th house, you may get all of a sudden turned on to astrology. You may all of a sudden start to think, wow, astrology is awesome. Or embark in a new beginning in astrology. New, it's time for you. It's in your 9th house, that kind of stuff. It could also be the Sagittarian type of things with the blend of that Aquarius, because that's the house that it's in. So you would pertain to that house. If this stuff were in somebody's 2nd house, I would think there may be some issues around money or what you have. And depending on aspects to it would be a good or bad. If you got all the squares and tension stuff, well, might be not good money. If you've got some trines or maybe some other things supporting it, you might be receiving have good, feel good type stuff. So that's kind of how we're going to look at that. So note in your own chart, again, where that is at, and then note things that are making aspects to it. Look to see if you've got other, and anything in any of those other squared areas. Now, then also look at things that might be trying that. Look to see if you got anything in Gemini, or if you've got, move it this way. If you've got anything over here in Libra, in the air signs. So if you've got say you're at Libra at 23 rising, then this new moon energy is going to affect your personal appearance. Maybe maybe you're going to get a new look. Maybe something really Aquarian. Maybe you're just going to buzz your head and just be like kind of real amorphous or something like that. I'm just going to kind of giving you some ideas how that would affect somebody. What else? What else I want to show you about that? Okay, so basically you're looking at the degree and then you're looking at where it's at. Is it in something tense or is it in something nice? Maybe it's a sextile, so it's like Aquarius, like how about if you've got something at 23 Aries, then that's 60 degrees away. So if you've got maybe you're an Aries rising there or an Aries moon, 23 degrees Aries moon, well, maybe that's a new moon for you to initiate new emotional habits or something like that. What if it were the other way? What if it were 23 degrees on the other side, like over here in Sagittarius, 2 signs away the other way? So that could be, it would affect that also. So you're looking at the angles to the 23 degrees and see if you have anything there and what are they and what part of your chart is it. Okay, so that's that. And we're doing for time. We're doing not bad. Okay, so I want to also share with you, let you look at that. I want to also, all right, here we go with new moons. I want to give you a little bit on that. Okay, so also with new moons, there's an emphasis on new beginnings. I said that, but this is a volatile and potentially explosive energy. That's because of that lineup, okay? So we should try to be careful of our intentions as they are powerful. Seeds of manifestation during the new moon tendencies toward excessive rage, turmoil in relationships, and an urgent need for change could have us creating something we regret. It's because of that. The reason that is because of all that stress with the squares here to Mars, anger, aggression, and Uranus out of the blue, because all this stuff is making squares to all of this stuff. See, look, as things get closer to that 18 degrees, look at Mercury 16 is just kind of be now verbally abusive here with Mars. Look at that kind of crap's going to be squaring there. The sun just passed it, but all these things are going to be coming over to those. All right. Okay, yeah, here. Also be careful the ongoing square between Saturn and Uranus. It's enhancing many of the less positive traits of Uranus, such as rebellion and the use of questionable means to obtain idealistic ends. This is why I'm really, really concerned about false flags. False flags being blamed on the people that are wanting change. Oh, because you got deplatformed, you're a terrorist, because you can't be on, you can't speak out against the government because, you can't say things. Oh, but you can talk about baby rape all day long. That's fine. But you can't talk about anything against, you can't say certain people's names, and I got to be careful because I'm on YouTube, but you got to be careful what you say. Just that alone is totalitarian, is draconian, and shouldn't be. Just that alone. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. All right, on the positive side, I like to look on the positive side, but we can't just ignore the stuff. On the positive side, Aquarius is an eccentric fellow, so be open to seeing things a little differently during this time, perhaps stepping out of your comfort zone. You may well find a solution or a way arises in your consciousness quite naturally. Surprises, revelations, and creative breakthroughs are more than likely with this new moon in Aquarius, as well as unexpected or sudden shifts in situations that feel stuck. Well, this is definitely an interesting week too, because we have oh God, I don't even want to go into, I'm not even going to go there. It's just too much, but I'll keep reading. All right. It's an interesting week, and I think we all know why. But anyway, it's nice because it says unexpected or sudden shifts in situations that feel stuck. Okay, those who've been plugging away in a determined Capricorn manner, pushing uphill and against the stream, may suddenly find themselves cutting across the current or taking a side route that ends up getting them to where they need to be in a much faster way with less effort. But fixate on a particular outcome and you're going to be disappointed when things take a little longer or a different turn, a twist of turn. That's where that Uranus stuff is. So how can we grow through a new moon in Aquarius? New moon in Aquarius brings a reminder to follow our own inner guidance instead of seeking out the opinions and advice of others. At the same time, Aquarius is all about finding outcomes that are good for everyone. It's that universal. Though a rebel at heart, it's also Aquarius. It's also humanitarian and is well aware that when we act only from selfish motives, we end up alienating ourselves from the whole. That is the true source of our well-being and creative power. The new moon in Aquarius is all about looking at things from a new and wider perspective. Aquarius advocates a collaborative approach, knowing that when we work together, everyone benefits from the outcome. Another thing we really have to keep watching is that the corruption wants to stay alive, and it's going to do everything it can to do so. And there's going to be a lot of lies and deceit that people are going to have to dig beyond mainstream to find answers. So remain awake during this new moon in Aquarius, because the ongoing tension between Saturn and Uranus may be prone to indulging in Aquarius insistence on freedom at all costs. And the result may be unwise or self-indulgent decisions just for the sake of being rebellious instead of fixing the problem. What I just heard somebody today has a store in Naples, and they never imbibed in mask wearing. They never did the social distancing. They said, look, if you want to wear a mask in here, it's fine, but all my employees aren't going to wear them, and you don't have to wear them. And he's got, there's a few stores. It's a market, but from seed to, shoot, I forget the name of it. It's a guy's name, Alfie, the guy that owns it, Oakley, something like that. Seed to plant, I forget. Anyway, I just heard it once. But anyway, he said, and this guy is really cool. I mean, his energy's good and he's bright. He said, look, we got to work for solutions, you know. He said, we made our statement right away. People that didn't want to support that didn't have to shop here. He said, but this, he said, you know, none of my employees have been sick. We all hug each other. We love each other. We support good food. It's like it seems like a Whole Foods place, but even better. You know, they showed pictures. It was like all this beautiful produce. He said, and he gives produce away, you know, makes smoothies and gives them to employees to keep them healthy. He said, nobody's been sick, not at all. Nobody. He said, you know, that's just how it is. And he's got 3 stores. This is in Naples. So that was kind of an interesting thing, you know, looking outside the box, seeing, hey, we're doing this. And this has been working. You know, it's been demonized, but we don't have a problem here. And he's a beautiful soul. I mean, you listen to him, you can see, at least I can see and feel integrity coming out as opposed to somebody trying to schmooze you. All right. Another thing. Okay, to understand how this new moon affects you too, look at where it falls in your chart. That's what we said, you know, and see, you know, where it is. Okay, so I got those notes. Yeah. All right, so we got to, again, look at, we don't want to be a rebel without a cause. You know, we want to go towards something. Oh, I know what the other thing that gentleman said. He says, you know, you can't not take care of your health and expect your health to be good. He says, you know, we got to have fresh air, sunshine, good breath, good food. And he says, you know, you do that, then you don't have to try to rely on things that are pushing pharmaceuticals when, you know, God's given us everything we need. So I thought it was pretty cool, his point of view. And there's a lot, you know, I just heard that one today. Oakley? I'm trying to remember the guy's name, something like that. But it's very refreshing when people are actually doing pro things. And he said, you know, I want to get together more people that are doing the right things. So many other little groups now are coming up and people are seeing through stuff and making positive change instead of bitching and just getting pissed off and yelling and ranting and raving. It's like, well, let's just do something. Let's do something. And this needs to be done, and this needs to be done better, and let's move into this direction. So that's how we're going to get through this stuff. And, you know, as we see this thing tightening, it's like, if we don't have an outlet to put it in, it's going to explode. If we have an outlet, then we get the big push of energy. All right, so I just want to look at these one more time here for you. So today, look at this one. Okay, so this is from coming in. I just wanted you to see the difference. It's like how the moon moves. Look at there. It's like today or tomorrow, actually. You know, it's over here. It's like coming out of there now. And then how it swings around. Oh, I gotta look close. These numbers are so little. And there's our new moon. And look how tight this is. I think when we looked at this a couple times back, this was pretty tight squares. Look at that. Oh, you know, and ignore the moon node over here because that's just place in space. And look from Mars over here to Pluto. And look how tight all that stuff is. That's crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at it. They're all there. Look how tight this is. 6 planets on the 11th. You know, the moon is here. You know, it starts on the 10th tomorrow. Yeah, probably late tonight. And all of that. Look at that lineup. It's crazy. Can you imagine a child born now? How really broad they're going to be. Look at Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter, all in Aquarius. This would be a really good arbiter. This would be a great judge, I think. And then, but they're gonna be a little feisty. Boy, they're gonna be like a temper, and you couldn't cross them there. That's just be a nearly interesting person. Be nice to follow some people that are born on this day. All right. Okay, so quickly go through here too. So that's here. Okay, and then they're gonna look on the 17th, the week later. And the moon has just trade places. It's just gone from making all these conjunctions to now joining this group over here and making squares. Oh boy. So it kind of goes from the frying pan into the fire. Crap. All right, so just be careful this next week on things that we say. And then trying to to say things without being volatile, but don't suppress things that need to be said. All right, and then coming around in this second time that the two planets hit, it also widened out, and I just want to point that out too. All right, so the next conjunction, I'm sorry, square, slap me if I keep doing that. The next square of Uranus and Saturn, and we see Uranus up here, and then we got Saturn over here, and we see that square. But now look at everything is widened out, of course, because of summer. Sun and Mercury are going to move, so they're over here. Venus has moved. It's moving pretty quick. Mars has moved. Look, it's all the way over here in Leo now. We still got Pluto back, holding it back. Pluto's going to be just this, it's going to be tailing, finishing up its transit next several years here in Capricorn. But it's widened out now. Now everything's, a little bit more than half the chart. So we definitely got more possibilities, more things, more stuff happening. But remember on this one, and again, when we get close, I'll remind you again, this is when we have Saturn is the retrograde. On this square, Saturn will be retrograde. So this one is the little bit of the devious because it's Saturn now. It's got its back to the wall. This is where the status quo is now backed up. It's like, all right, I caught you. You've been cheating. You've been lying. And this is like, no, I haven't. And then it says, oh, look over there. Boom. Bam. You look, whoa. I didn't, something that's just going to be out of the ordinary. It's going to be the more underhanded way. All right. And then in December, look again, we have the square again. Here's Uranus over here almost, at this chart here. And then Saturn is up here. Those are at 11 degrees. And then this is also good to note these degrees in your chart or anything squaring those degrees too. It's like, do you have anything at those fixed signs at those degrees, 7 degrees, 13 degrees, and 11 degrees? Look at that when you're looking at your chart too. Look at those to see if you have some entanglement with the Saturn and Uranus and at those degrees and where it's in your chart, where you have that, I'm talking about this always, transits for the collective, but look in your chart and see where you have that push-pull energy. Look and see where you have to get rid of stuff in the old and make room for the new without throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That's like the thing. It's like, whoa, whoops. Okay, don't want to do that. But now look here in December, and again, the sun is now lapped itself. It's wrapped around its back here. It's getting tighter again. The moon, it will follow, but look, it's gotten tightened again. Tightening up, not as tight as it's now, but this is because these inner planets have gone now in wintertime, and they kind of travel together, so they get in Capricorn again. Ew. So now we got this stuff going on, and it's in Capricorn, and we have Uranus is the retrograde planet, and that one is the rebellion. If stuff gets stymied and pushed, and people get pushed and pushed, this now we'll see more. We could have protest and rebellion get out of hand or violent. And those demanding change may find themselves compromising their ethics as a means to an end in a desperate attempt to get an upper hand. I think it was Gerald Celente said, when people lose everything, they tend to lose it after that. When they've been so suppressed, and they haven't made their line. If they hadn't said, hey, I'm not going to stand for this. You better stop it. We're not going to take this anymore. We're mad as hell. We're not going to take it anymore. It's really up to us to not allow suppression. And, sometimes we have to get active a bit and always look for peaceful solutions. But there's a lot of education that has to happen. We all have to bring ourselves up to speed in civics, in government, because, we've been asleep. Hold on here. Where am I at here? All right. Let me just, I think I got it, right? Okay. Yeah, check it out. Some big casinos are open. So we've got that stuff coming around. We've got those things to look out for. Again, I'll keep hitting those things as we get through it, but these are those important dates. Write these on your calendar and then look for those things in your chart so you can take those energies and work on yourself, work on those things, structure within ourselves that need to change, but keep those things that we've built up there and make that solid. And then things that, need to get radicalized or need to be rebelled or spoken out with, to speak out with integrity. That's what I want to say, speaking out with integrity. Okay, I think I got everything. Is there any questions here? I'm just gonna look at the chat, see if there's anything. I think I hit on everything. Yeah, no, I can't watch the news anymore. And yeah, hiding out our homes. Lots of vitamin D. They're just starting to say, vitamin C, vitamin Z, D, and zinc, help the immune system. It's just about helping the immune system. And just as far as, I don't want to get totally all into this because it's just a thing, but we're never going to stop little fragments of the common cold strain of anything because it's a common cold. It's the body's reacting to stuff, and it's itself. It's the tissues of the body itself. So we're always going to see those, what they call viral segments. So I'm not even going to start naming names of people out there, but these ones that are advocating lockdowns will never end, always wear masks. Let's 2, 3, 4, wear masks all over. And now we're going to get anal swabs. It's like, what will we keep taking? This is, people are seeing through the lies and they are making changes. So yeah, I think we just, it's going to happen. It's happening. We can watch these and we looked at history. Exactly. It's such a joke. Yeah. And then it's not one vaccine. Oh, one's not going to work. You can take more. We're always going to have more flu strains. So you got to take more. Oh, and you still have to wear masks and you still have to social distance. But did they once tell people, about their health? And this is another thing that pisses me off. I'm sorry, as a natural healer. It's like, why are you so interested in our health all of a sudden? It's like, oh, you weren't interested, when you're, putting GMO in all of our food. Or creating more GMO, changing the genetics. Oh, it's okay to put glyphosate over everything, and spray with pesticides and chemicals. That's all fine. Oh, the heart disease dilemma. Oh, the diabetes. That's all okay. That's all been fine. Cancer, not a problem. It's like, we're not going to be concerned or worried about anything that at all. But now we got this. Oh, all of a sudden we're scared. We're going to push this stuff on you. But what about all that? Now you're concerned. See, and I'm been on the alternative side, so a lot of it's bullshit to me. I get the rejects from people going through the knothole backwards. After they go through all that shit, that's the people like me. They come from, well, you're my last hope. I've tried everything. So that's why I know it works, because when you take somebody out of death's door with care, with proper nutrition and proper care, and returning someone to proper sleep and rhythms, and helping eliminate, they're not eliminating, they're not getting good nutrition, or not hydrated, they're stressed, all of that stuff. How does it make sense that poison the body? Have chemo to kill, it's like, let's give you more radiation. Radiation causes cancer. Let's give you toxic, nasty things. So I'm on the other side. That's why I guess I'm a little bit more outspoken, because 35 years being a natural health practitioner, seeing those mistakes, seeing somebody F somebody up because of bad pharmacology, bad practices, and then you clean up other people's mess. You get it after a while. Yeah, gut is the second brain. Absolutely. And then how many people talk to people about probiotics anymore? How many go to a doctor and you get prescribed some probiotics because your gut's out of balance? No, let's resect your colon. Let's give you some caustic drugs, instead of helping you eat right. Let's take 15 minutes and talk to you, instead of just write your script in 30 seconds. Anyway, all of that kind of stuff is going to be coming up. Those are the issues, this tradition, stuff that's been suppressed, stuff is going to come out, but people are having ears to hear. So I think the big thing is we really got to watch how we speak and how we say and put things out, and try to make it not so scary, because there's going to be definitely some scary things coming out, and some things that people don't want to look at. They do not want to look at this, and they will do everything to not. And what was that quote I heard from, I'll end this with the one from Mark Twain. It's easier to tell people a lie than to tell them that they've been lied to. Yes, yes. Actually, the Rife machine, you said Rife machines heal. That uh, the two rows healing vibrational table. One of the folders is Rife frequencies, so we have all the Rife frequencies in there. But yeah, but yeah, it's definitely easier to tell people a lie than it is to tell them or convince them that they've been lied to. And I think that's the biggest theme for this that we're really going to see. We're going to have to try to convince people if they've been lied to. And you know, the problem with that is the ego is going to get in the way. I have not. Oh, that's what we're going to be dealing with. And embarrassment and pain and not wanting to look at stuff. So happy Saturn Uranus squares. Happy new moon in Aquarius. No, but really, on another way, this, you know, my husband was reminding me, I'm like going through some of the stuff with him. I said, we're just going to hit this stuff and it's going to be bad, you know, it's going to be bad 2 years, you know. And he's like, oh, but this stuff's gonna, you know, this stuff's got to come out, and it's going to be weeding the wheat from the chaff, and you know, stuff. And I say, I know, you're right, but it's still going to be. Let me just take the word bad out. Let me put rough. How about that? It's going to be rough. It's going to be a little rocky, but you know, it kind of adds spice to life if you just, you know, if you don't have curry powder and salt and vinegar and you know, garlic and bear and you know, some wild crazy seasonings and Cajun, then your cooking's bland. So this is how the times that we're, you know, it's introducing you to curry. It's introducing you to hot peppers. It's you know, turning you on to some really potent taste that you might have never tasted before. So instead of spitting it out, hold it in your mouth a little bit, take a few deep breaths and say, strange, but I think I could take it. All right, y'all. There's nothing else. I'm gonna sign off and keep it positive. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.